Okay, welcome back to the fan show. After the Tottenham 1, Eintracht Frankfurt 1 game. In this show, I speak to Spurs fans from all around the world about their thoughts on that result. I think we were all hoping that Spurs would get a lead to take to Germany, but they haven't. Meanwhile, Manchester United in the other match have drawn 2-2 away at Lyon. That's a good result for them. And Rangers have drawn 0-0 against Athletic. Earlier in the quarterfinals, Bodo Glimt turned over Lazio 2-0 to make them the heavy favourites to go into the semi-finals. But Spurs could not win at home, unfortunately. And I'm going to talk to some of the Spurs fans from around the world about that. I'm going to start off in Malta with one of our regulars, Melvin. Melvin, can you hear me? And what did you make of that game?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Top man.
It was not the worst performance. I mean, if you take the result out of it, we actually didn't play that bad. Disappointed to concede. I thought if in a European game when the aggregate is so important, I thought we would have defended better. I thought we would have learned from our mistakes and not let them have the ball in such areas, close them down quicker. We keep doing the same mistake, letting the opposition have the ball in certain areas and not closing them down, not letting them shoot, not letting them cross. We were unlucky, not to get the second goal. I mean,
that's true.
On another day, we could have had, 2 or 3 more. But positives, I thought Udogie was great, like you said. Bentancur probably had his best game since his ACL surgery, and he looks faster. To be honest, he moves across the pitch a lot better. And we had reports last season that Bentancur won't return till full fitness until like 6 months, into the next season, which is sort of what's happening. He looked great. He ran past a couple of players, Bentancur, and it showed because he mopped up well. We struggled to get the ball to Johnson the entire game. I kept an eye on him, and we couldn't get the ball to him, and we couldn't get the best out of Johnson. They didn't leave us any space, which I thought...
They were never going to leave us space, though, were they?
Yeah. I think it's easy to set up against us, just, play a low block and counter-attack. If you close the space behind the defense, we struggle to create. I thought Madison was okay. I know he created the goal, but he should have done maybe a bit more. Heung-min Son, unfortunately, this season has offered us absolutely nothing. I don't remember a time when I thought Son really saved us today or really pulled that out of the bag for us, and where he used to in the past. I have no confidence in him at the moment, and I thought he should have been substituted at halftime. I actually called for Son not to start this game, which I thought would have been ballsy from Ange, but I don't think he has the guts to do that. But I personally think Son offered nothing from the left hand side, which is painful to say because I obviously we all love the player and we all want to be loyal to him because he was loyal to us. But I think at the moment, Son, the best thing he can offer is be an impact sub. I just thought he didn't create anything. He didn't get past anyone. He
had that one shot. He had that one kind of trademark shot that the keeper saved well, but it was one that the keeper, I would say he'd have been disappointed if he didn't save it. It wasn't right in the corner like Ekateki's shot was.
What's wrong with his shooting, though, Barnaby? He hasn't shot. Let's say he hasn't had a proper shot he used to. He doesn't get them on target anymore. He shot one, he nearly, went into the stands. I don't understand where his shooting went.
I just think that maybe
lose the pace.
Listen, when you're fans and you're not involved in the club, you're kind of guessing, aren't you? But it feels like Son, just from the way the examples I'll use even more than his shooting is, I'm not suggesting that Son should be able at the age of 32 to beat his man on the outside every time. But when he's taking a touch to go inside and he can't even get separation from the man to go inside and so has to go back every time, that shows, I think he's got a knock. I think he must be playing with a slight injury or something because he's just not quite at it. And And maybe, I guess there's also a chance maybe he's just played far too many minutes over the last 12 months.
Yeah, it's tricky to say from the outside. Like you said, it's harsh also for me to say it because Son's a great player, and we've all said I've said these things before. Going forward, disappointed not to get the goal, obviously, because now we have to go away and get the win, which will be tricky for Ange and tricky for the team, because I feel the team maybe is not experienced enough. I was happy with Bergvall's performance. I thought that shot was outstanding, and
Oh my God.
if that went in, the atmosphere at the stadium was good. I was happy with that. I thought the fans were quite loud, especially in the beginning, in the first half.
To be fair, even though I said it didn't sound that great from where I was, but I've just seen a tweet from someone saying that the atmosphere was really great there. So fair enough. Listen, I'm listening on like low so that you guys can't hear the commentary. So I'm just working it out that way. But if I was wrong, then I apologize.
Yeah, the substitutions were not bad either. I thought they could have been done maybe a bit earlier to have a proper impact. I thought Tell should have been brought on earlier. There was rumors of Odegaard with possible injury, so probably why he wasn't brought on earlier as well. Richarlison, I thought maybe should have been given slightly more time. We need to have more impact players. What more can I say?
I'm just gonna show this comment here, Melvin, from Miss Natalia Maria, who seems to be pretty livid with me in the comments. She says, Spurs' best performance in months and the fans are still complaining. Get a grip and get over yourselves. Well, I did say in the post-match review that I thought it was our best performance in months, and that's true. But I think the disappointment, Natalia, comes from the fact that I think to be realistic, I personally felt that we needed to get a win today and we needed to be more clinical. And there's no problem in being disappointed that we weren't more clinical. You can still say we had we played our best performance in a while, and hopefully that will lead to an even better performance. And look, there is, as far as I'm concerned, I'll be interested to see what you think of this, Melvin, but there will be, although they'll have an amazing atmosphere in Germany next week, there will be slightly more pressure on them at home to come forward and to dominate the ball more. And that could lead to more space in behind for Spurs. So I don't think that Tottenham won't make chances next week. But I do think now we're no longer favourites for the tie, if indeed we were before.
Yeah, I mean, if they come out and leave us room to attack them, it's possible it works out better for us. I mean, we're still in the tie.
Yeah,
I don't believe for 1 second that we don't have a chance. I mean, we're still a good team. We outplayed them today. If it wasn't for a mistake and in the midfield losing the ball and then not closing it down, I felt they wouldn't have scored. They didn't test us very much. Vicario didn't have much to do. While on the other end, we tested them a lot more than they tested us. I felt we were unlucky not to score 2 or 3 today. If maybe the team was more confident, and I think the more time went on, the more we struggled to score. And if we scored early, let's say in the 50th minute or 60th minute, I thought that maybe we got a third more easy. But sometimes in football, the more times goes on, the more pressure builds up. The atmosphere gets a bit quiet, the more tense. But I think unlucky today, but happy with the performance overall.
Yeah, Tom Lowry in the comments there just saying, whinging for a change, Barnaby. That's not like you being sarcastic. Well, I would go with what Ashen Wizard has said here. We're a top 5 club. We should expect more. We can't give a pat on the back for just trying. That's how I feel. Like, the reality is, I'm afraid, you can't take each game in a vacuum as far as I'm concerned. Yes, I'm feeling negative about Spurs at the moment because we're 13th, 14th in the league, and yes, I thought they performed better tonight, but we do deserve more as fans, I personally believe. Listen, Melvin, thanks so much for coming on the show. As per usual, you've been a great guest. And let's talk again after the Wolves game at the weekend.
Yeah, all the best, man. See you.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye. Okay. Next up, we're going to Ireland and another regular, Noel. How are you doing, Noel?
Good, Barnaby. Yourself?
Yes, yeah. I'm okay. Frustrated, I'd say. It would have been good if it felt maybe a bit like we needed one to go off someone's backside today. Do you know what I mean? We weren't able to. We weren't able to score that perfect second goal.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's disappointing, but we're still in it. I mean, we were 1-0 down after 6 minutes, and there was a lot of doom and gloom about. I was actually keeping an eye on some of the comments that were coming in on your stream, and people were getting very, very negative,
Yeah.
and played themselves a bad mistake, obviously in midfield, and no real cover. But other than that, they didn't really test us that much. But I thought the goal that we created was brilliant. The run by Solanke, and Madison obviously made up for his mistake, and Porro put it away quite well. Couple of there's 1 minute, I think you said it actually, they give them an awful lot of space in the very last minute of the first half. I thought the defending there, there was no shape. Actually, Udogie was, trotting back, and they didn't really see the danger. Then the second half, I think Tottenham really dominated it, and had a couple of. There was a 2 minute spell where Son had a shot. Bergvall, what a player he's become.
Yeah.
I mean, last week, getting a goal ruled out against Southampton for a ridiculous VAR decision, and taking 6 or 7 minutes, and then he cracks one like that, and then there was another one against the bar. I can't remember who was that. Solanke, was it?
Bentancur, I
Oh,
think, from a
Bentancur.
header. Yeah.
Bentancur, and Son had one as well.
Yeah.
And right at the very death, I mean, Van der Ven really, if he had got a proper contact on it at all, he would have scored. So all in all, it's not a disaster. Could have been a total disaster. I was just, we give them a lot of space in the last 5 or 10 minutes, and give away a couple of cheap fouls as always. And I was expecting maybe a ball given away in midfield, and maybe at a 2-1 that would have been a disaster. So, like yourself, a wee bit deflated, but I think you were saying, I didn't actually. I turned the match off afterwards. I think you were saying that they were celebrating as if they'd won the tie. I would be reminding, if I was the manager, and I'm sure he will. I'm sure next week he'll be reminding them. These guys think it's all over, and they can go to Germany, and they still have to score as well. It's not like the old days of the away goal rule. A 0-0 draw would have brought them through. So
Yeah.
I'm actually confident. If there ever is going to be a salvation for this season, next Thursday is the day, and I don't think it's over by a long shot. But I do agree with. I do agree with Melvin. I saw like Rick Carlson was coming on in 87 minutes. He's not going to do anything in 6 minutes, 3 minutes, and 3 minutes of injury time. He should have been on, but I would give a player at least 15 minutes. Like Solanke, has run himself into the ground, but again, we're not making the chances for him. So he could easily have put on Richarlison, in say the 75th minute. But not a disaster, but it was looking like it early on.
Obviously, you've been watching Spurs a long time.
Yeah.
How would you envisage next week's game will go? Do you think it'll be exactly the same, and we'll have most of the ball and they'll try and hit us on the break, or do you think they will be forced to kind of come forward a bit more and put us under pressure because of the crowd?
I think the latter. I think they will be forced to come out and play a bit. They were obviously playing on the break tonight. I mean, I think Tottenham would, will play a wee bit deeper than they normally would. If they give them space in their own ground behind us, they could really hurt us very badly. The guy that scored the goal is obviously a wonderful player. You wouldn't want to be giving him too many chances in behind you.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a completely different game next week. And, you said it yourself, I mean, what happens against Wolves on Sunday? Will they rest some of the players, or will they keep the momentum going?
Would you rotate them all?
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. The league is still important, and I wouldn't. I would play as strong a team as possible and give some players. I mean, I don't think Van der Ven will play.
No.
And
he looked great again, though, didn't he?
He was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Like, he's a Rolls Royce. There was one tackle in the first half when they were bearing down a goal, and he's got big long legs, and he just wrapped that leg around the ball, and the danger was gone. He sniffs out danger. Like, he is a fabulous player. Very disappointed, that he didn't get the proper contact at the end.
Yeah.
And he would have really.
It seemed like kind of just behind him slightly, almost, didn't it?
It sort of did, yeah. But again, Melvin says a lot of things that I would like to say. Like, Johnson really didn't get into it tonight. There was no outlet for him. It was very tight when we got into that area of the pitch. They were defending very deeply.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think it's okay. It's okay. But I think I agree with you that it's the best they played in a long, long time. And the luxury that they had, of being able to, put on players of the quality that they were. I mean that was good. And I'm really, getting really impressed with Bergvall. I think it was a wee bit critical of him a few weeks ago when I said he was, jumping about all over the place. But my God, he does try to. He's the man. He's now coming and taking it off the back four. He's taking it off Vicario. He's now becoming the leader in midfield.
Yeah, he is.
And he's only 19.
Yeah.
So like next year you're going to see, a really super player. And that's the one. And Bentancur I thought tonight was good. Romero, Porro I thought played well as well, but maybe a couple of times were caught. And I actually thought Udogie had some great runs.
Yeah, and Natalia in the comments, I've just put that up because she says Destiny silenced a few critics. I agree. I thought he looked a lot fresher and more full of drive than I've seen for a while.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's so dangerous when he gets in those wide positions and gets outside Son.
I just sometimes think when he's defending, it was at that moment in the 45th minute where he was sort of coming back. And there was players outside him, and I don't think he sensed the danger. But other than that, I thought he did well. And we were disappointed. Madison, I don't know what he has to do to complete 90 minutes. I suppose, they were looking for that bit more energy in there. And, Sarr can give them that. It's interesting, that he didn't take Bergvall or Bentancur off. So obviously they were doing the job, and doing it very, very well. Again, Son I'm sure he's very disappointed. He just doesn't seem to be able to get into the game anymore. And I think you could be right. There's something, he doesn't look happy anymore. He used to play with a smile on his face. Now he's got a frown. So there's maybe something in his personal life. I don't know what it is, or, maybe the pressure is too much for him. But, at the same time, he's still the man that might come up with the goods next week. He might pop up somewhere, and I still would be going into the game with him in the team.
Yeah, there's nobody else I would have wanted on that chance that he had saved, but it's just a shame that he didn't put it in the top corner.
I think it was a good height for the goalkeeper, but at the same time, it was a chance. It just needed a wee bit more off to the side, and it would have went in. But there was a great passage of play there, and some good play, and something we haven't had for a very long time. So a big improvement, I would have thought, definitely.
Yeah.
And I mean, and these guys are no mugs, these guys are, they're not a bad team.
I thought they were a good team, and I thought it suited them, and I think it'll suit them next week. But let's see what happens. Noel, listen, thanks for being a part of the show. Really appreciate it, mate. Let's speak after Wolves.
But what's your prediction for Sunday, by the way, for the Wolves game?
I think we'll lose against Wolves.
Will we? Do you think?
Yeah, I think we'll lose. I think he'll rotate 6 or 7 players and we'll lose 2-1.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think he has to. It's his job. Can you imagine if he played the same team, kind of hoping that they get rhythm, and then Romero gets injured or something? The fans would never forgive him.
Yeah, well, that's true. Next week's the most important. Okay, well, sure. We'll maybe talk next week. Okay.
Yes, mate.
Thanks.
Cheers,
Ron.
Ron.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Okay, we're going from Ireland over to England, and Harry Hennings from Spurs Direct. Harry, tell me, how are you feeling after that draw tonight?
Slightly frustrated, I think, because obviously tonight was the home leg. The home leg's always, that's always a tie where the home leg's the one where you want to win, basically, to sort of kill the tie off. Obviously,
Harry, I'm just going to stop you for a minute because the sound quality is really bad. So I'm going to ask you to go out and go back in on the link, and then I'll speak to someone else and then speak to you afterwards because it's just, I can't hear you at all, really. Call back in. Cheers, mate. Okay, so let's go over to Essex and John.
Hello.
John, sorry to come at you quite quickly there, mate, but
no problem.
What are your overall thoughts after that victory? After that draw, after I wish it was a victory.
Yeah, a bit frustrated, to be honest. I thought they were there for the taking. We were a bit unlucky, obviously, in the second half with a couple that hit the bar. But same old thing for me. Porro with his defending. I've said on here a couple of times, I just don't like him when he's meant to be defending. Lets players run at him.
He should have shown him the outside. Should have shown Ekitike the outside.
He lets them all come in on the inside. I'd like to know how many goals we've let in from players cutting in on him, either scoring at the far post or crossing it to the far post, and players are scoring from there. It happens all the time. And again, I've spoke before, he's our top goal scorer. His goals speak for itself. But Brennan Johnson, if you don't lay a ball across the 6-yard box for him to tap in, what does he do in a game? What does he do? What did he do?
He frustrates.
Unbelievably. It's like playing with 10 men tonight for all what he done. We may as well have had 10 men out there, honestly.
Why do you think he played him tonight then? Because Odebear had a tight hamstring?
Yeah, and also, his confidence is up with the 2 goals at the weekend. So, good time to play him. I wouldn't have myself. Like I say, I really don't rate him to be a starter. I'd have him come on with 20 minutes to go. I'd have Son on the bench as well with him and put him on with 20 minutes to go. But I still think we're in the tie. I'll be honest, I thought we'd win by a couple of goals before the game. I really did. But it just shows you how low we've become, because we were playing Frankfurt, not Bayern Munich, like we was a few years ago, and beating Real Madrid. It's all hyped up to be biggest game of the season. The media are hyping up Frankfurt to be this top team. We should be putting teams like them away. I mean, what players are there to get into our team other than maybe the young lad who scored the goal?
Yeah, maybe him and maybe Larson in the 6, although Bentancur did play well. Listen, do you think there's any chance that we go there next week and we do put them away?
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, on our day, we can beat anyone. We've got no excuses. We've got a full team. And yeah, I could see us going there and getting a win. But on the same side, we could go there, hold our hands up and let them beat us 2-3-0. You just don't know with Tottenham. But I am optimistic.
All right. Who impressed you today? Obviously, Brennan Johnson wasn't one of them, but...
no, definitely not. I thought Van der Ven, a couple of tackles he made, recovery, absolutely brilliant. I didn't think you doggy was too bad. And in Bergvall, he never disappoints for me. For a player of his age, I thought it'd take him a little bit longer to get to where he is at the moment. But I just think he's getting better and better. But yeah, Maddison, nothing really. He done that good little turn and shot in the second half. But he's the player.
He did set up the goal. We got to give him the credit for the assist.
Yeah. But I want to see him threading balls in between the defenders for players to run onto. That's what he used to do. But yeah, I don't know what's the matter with him. He's not the player he was for me.
And maybe there's an underlying injury thing there as well, and that's why he's always being taken off with 10 minutes to go. What changes would you make to the starting 11, assuming everyone's fit for this game next week?
Well, I'd have Odeberg, however you pronounce his name, playing on the right, maybe, and I'd have Tell on the left instead of Son. And like I say,
I just to interrupt you there, mate. I really liked what Tell did. I know it seems simple, but just to bring it on his right foot and get an early cross in and change up, because just every time Son had it, and I'm not going in on Son, he's a club legend, but he slows it down every single time. And I swear, back in the day, he would just whip an earlier cross in, and that caused real trouble.
Bend him around the defender. He used to bend him around his defender. But the one thing I don't understand, and it's been all season, is I read that Solanke last year scored the most headers in the Premier League for Bournemouth. We don't cross the ball to him.
No, we don't.
The amount of times we get in that position, and instead of crossing it, we pass it back to Poro or you doggy. Then it comes inside, then it goes over the other side, then back again. That's one bit of the game I really don't understand. He's meant to be great in the air. Scored loads of goals for Bournemouth with his head. We do not cross the ball to him. Incredible.
It's really frustrating. And then how do you feel, just before I let you go, how do you feel about Wolves at the weekend then? Are you keep the team together to get some rhythm, or you rotate them all?
I'll be totally honest with you. For the first time in a long time, I'm really not bothered with the Wolves game. Yeah, no, honestly, that's how it's got me now. I think he's got a rest 3 or 4 at least for the game. And if we come out of there with a draw, he'll be happy with that. But I don't think he's going to be devastated if we lose. If it means having the full team out next week and we win the game.
Yeah.
If we lose against Wolves, then lose against Frankfurt, then he's under loads and loads of pressure. And
there's no way he's surviving that. I think he will be out of a job next Friday if we lose to Frankfurt. I think.
Yeah, you just never know with Levy. You just do not know. For some reason, I think he likes him. I think Levy likes him, and
he's definitely a good shield for him at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. But I'll let you get someone else on anyway.
All right, Top Man John, thanks again for being part of the show, and speak again at the weekend. Top Man.
Cheers.
Okay, I'm going to go back to Harry.
Can you hear me this?
Yes, I think you sound a little bit better, Harry. Yeah. So what did you make of that performance?
It's frustrating because obviously the home leg is the one which you have the crowd behind you the whole game. It's the one which you want to win. And it just so happens that tonight, obviously, the first leg was at home, but we had plenty of chances to win the game in the second half. Obviously, the one from Spence with the ball into Johnson against Southampton, it worked perfectly. I just obviously annoying that it couldn't work tonight. But then the one at the end as well with Van der Ven, I was sort of hovering, ready to leap up and celebrate because I thought it was going in. Good save from the keeper, but obviously, as previous guests have mentioned, it was a good height. But no, it's frustrating because obviously, as you mentioned, Frankfurt players and fans are obviously cheering that because they've earned a draw in the away leg. Now they're going to take that and they're going to take momentum home to the second leg with them. But obviously, it's a draw. We haven't been outplayed. We were the better side tonight, so we have to take that belief into Sunday, into the second leg as well. I'm quite an optimistic fan, so I'm not going to put us down for the second leg. I know that we're capable of winning. It's going to be tough. We made it hard for ourselves by not winning tonight, but we can definitely get a result in Germany. Obviously, the players are going to want to do that, and you'll definitely get behind the players to do that. So we just need to believe in ourselves and just go out on the second leg and then just play our football again like tonight.
Harry, not to put you on the spot, but if having watched tonight, if you were going to say one thing will need to change or to happen that didn't happen tonight for us to win next week in Germany in one of the most difficult games you can probably face in this tournament, what is that going to be? What's the big change?
Both wingers, I think. So put Odegaard on the right and Tell on the left, because it's obviously, as you said before, we're not here to bash Son at all. He's our captain. He is a legend, but it's simple that he slows it down. He does. He slows all attacks down. He goes backwards, whereas 3-4 years ago he'd been taking men on, getting crosses into the box. So I think we stick with Solanke up top. We put Tell on the left, Odegaard on the right, and then we're going to have a lot more pacey options. Obviously, Johnson's frustrating because, yes, he will score a few goals every now and again. He's obviously our top scorer for a reason, but he's someone that when he's not scoring, he's doing nothing else. He doesn't, he's not physical. He can't beat his man. Earlier on, obviously, Tiate, the centre half, outmuscled him very easily for a goal kick. It's frustrating with Johnson. So I definitely, So for me, change both wingers and then keep the rest of the starting 11 the same from tonight.
And as a result of wanting to keep most of the starting 11 together, are you rotating on Sunday?
A few, not loads. I think what you said is important, that we need to keep fresh. We need this team to gel ahead of next Thursday. So I think Van der Ven rest, and then maybe I think start with Son on Sundays, obviously to bench him next Thursday, but not don't rotate too heavily. Obviously we don't need to win on Sunday, but it's still good to have the momentum and the belief that we win obviously on Sunday, take that win into Thursday, and then just go from there.
Okay, and what would you say percentage-wise, if you're going to put a percentage chance on it, what would you say our percentage chances are of being in the semi-final of the Europa League next Thursday night?
At the moment, I'd probably go about 60%. Obviously, it's a draw, so at the moment, we're 50-50, obviously. That's a fact, but I think we play in the best league in the world for a reason. We play in the English league. We, on paper, should be beating teams like Frankfurt, but then obviously the second leg's in Germany. So if we had drawn away tonight in Germany and the second leg's North London, then I'm going to go 80-85%. But we have to be realistic, but also optimistic at the same time, that I think Thursday's going to be our season. Our season is defined by Thursday, and just future is defined by Thursday. So I'll play it safe for 60% at the moment, definitely.
I'm gonna say that I'm hopeful that Ange Postecoglou's experience of winning trophies will find a way to get this team through. But as I said in my kind of post-match review, I have to stick to the fact that, I thought going into this game we would need a goal or 2-goal lead, and we don't have that. But like I said, if we can kind of dampen down the crowd first 15 minutes, not do anything stupid like we did tonight and concede straight away. And I do think we will make chances. We pretty much make chances wherever we go, but we need to be clinical in a way that maybe we haven't been since the Etihad. Who, just based on, tonight's performance in the season, who do you think are the players who are going to be the mainstay of whatever team we have going forward next season and beyond for whoever manager that may be?
So you mean attacking? So like wingers?
No, I just mean like, who do you think are the players who are guaranteed to be the teams are going to be built around from next year onwards?
Kulu, Bergvall, Van der Ven, Spence, Vicario, and then Gray. I think and perhaps Solanke, but I think everybody else has a chance that they may leave. Obviously, I love Romero, I love Porro, but I think Romero is obviously rumoured to leave. There's been rumours: is he interested enough? Is he disinterested? Porro, I think I may include Porro in that as well, because tonight he played very well when he plays consistently and he can have rests here and there. So yeah, I think I'll add Porro to that as well. But then obviously Doggy's got interest, and Doggy's not really been the same since his injury, and since that Chelsea game, no one's been the same. But yeah, I don't think anybody else I could include in that, to be honest with you.
All right, Harry, mate, thanks so much for calling in and being part of the show. Really appreciate it. And let's speak again after the Wolves game.
Of course. Thank you, Barnaby. See you later.
Bye-bye. Okay, next up, going back to Ireland, and Paddy. How are you, Paddy?
Not too bad. And yourself, Barnaby?
Yes, I'm tired and a bit frustrated, but the season isn't dead. So I guess I should be pretty positive. How are you feeling after that draw tonight?
I kind of have to agree with most of what everyone else has said. I think everyone was pretty good, and Madison was hit and miss, but I think it was the front third really was the issues. Neither winger taking on a man. As you said, Son just playing the ball back. I mean, everyone's saying we should go with Tell and Odebear on the right. I just can't see him not playing Son. It's not going to happen. But Odebear maybe. It's just Johnson just not taking a year on, as you said, just back, playing the ball back, no urgency. But I thought Bergvall was the best player on the pitch first, and I really thought for his age, not just the goal, but bravery, taking on the ball, pressing. I thought he was really, really good. Bentancur had a good game.
Agreed.
Udogie had a good game as well. I just think it's a big call. I just don't think Ange's going to do it to leave him on the bench in a quarter-final away leg. But I think it needs big calls at this stage of the season. His job's on the line.
Yeah, completely agree. What are your genuine feelings on whether we are actually going to get through that game next Thursday? Do you think we're going to still be in the tournament next Friday? I
heard the last caller there saying 60%. I'd probably say 40%. I think it's our record in Europe away is pathetic. For some of the really, really, really bad ones we've had in the past.
When we lost to the team whose manager was in prison.
In prison, yeah, that was one of them. Yeah, but I just can't. I don't know. I think the one thing that I think we had a lot of possession today. Second half was really encouraging. Like, we really deserved to get a goal in that second half. Like, we hit the crossbar, the corner, the post, the last minute. That chance with Van der Ven. So I think we can maybe dominate them. I'd just be fearful on them. I mean, there's that just before half time again, where the striker at Etiteke, whatever you call him, was in on goal, and we were all over the place. And like, Porro was really good going forward, but he lost the ball 3 or 4 times as well, and left us really in a muddle at the back. Van der Ven had a good game. I don't know. It probably is a 50-50. Just history would tell you that Spurs away when you really need to do it don't usually step up.
Yeah, all we can hope for, I guess, is some kind of like Ajax level madness. But it just, I don't know. To me, it just feels like I said it in the opening tonight. I was like, who is going to take the game by the scruff of the neck tonight? And I'll say it, I thought Bentancur tried to. I thought Bergvall tried to be fair. Maddison did try to, I guess, in getting on the ball regularly and stuff. And a little bit Romero in the second half, I think, improved. But
I think, I think if we look at next week, I'd like to see Richarlison get at least 35, 40 minutes so we have an option off the bench, up front, even if we need two. Like, again, you can throw we were on about headers earlier, but he is good in the air, corners.
I'd like to see him start against Wolves.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too. And hopefully, I heard Ange talking there. He said he didn't think Kula could start next week. He wouldn't be fit to start, but I think he said he hopes he'd have him on the bench.
Well, he'd be a great option off the bench, wouldn't he?
Yeah, like I saw Moore was on the bench for the last game in Europe. He's on the bench for this game in Europe. He's not on the bench for either of the ones in the league. Don't know what he has to do.
He should start on Sunday as well in the Premier League.
Yeah, I just think the ones that probably rest on Sunday are Basuma is obviously out. He's finished. He's obviously out.
Yeah.
So I think Spence will start. I'd say I'd probably play Davies and rest Van de Ven. Udogi's gonna sit it out, I'd expect, and maybe he might even play Gray at right back at the weekend, and it's probably going to be Sarr. He's probably going to play Sarr, and Odegaard get a game, and maybe Son will get rested and come on at halftime. I think we lose 2-0. You said 2-1. I think we lose 2-0 at the weekend. Cunha's going to score absolutely, and probably Gomez.
Paddy, let me talk you through what could. It's just gone through my head, the potential of the most Spurs thing ever happening, which is that we go to Eintracht Frankfurt next Thursday, put in one of the great performances of our time, turn them over 2 or 3-0. We play Bodo Glimt in the semi-finals and go out.
Well, didn't they have either the best or the second best defensive record in Europe?
Listen, I watched the last 15, 20 minutes of them against Lazio today. They should have won that 4 or 5-0. They were all over them. Absolutely all over them. And they are a proper team. They know exactly what to do in every situation. And I wouldn't fancy going to Norway, to be honest. But,
No, if we do get through, it's. I think it's looking more and more likely. I mean, I couldn't believe Bilbao didn't get past Rangers against 10 men tonight. But I think
I didn't see how long did Rangers have 10 men for?
I think it was near I think it was the whole second half and a bit of the first half, and Rangers saved a penalty as well. But I think they'll get through in the second half. They'll probably beat. I'm not sure. It looks like United might go through. They got a 2-2 draw away tonight.
Yeah.
But it's going to be Bilbao in the final. What a game! Like, that would be some atmosphere to be at.
Listen, I would do anything for us to get through to the final. But
well,
who knows?
Didn't you say that if you got there, you told Chris?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
I won't be doing this. I'm going to be there.
Yeah. Well, I've told my partner that if we get there, we're going to make a week of it. Anyway, Paddy, listen, thanks so much for being a part of the show. I really appreciate it. And let's speak again after a game at the weekend.
Good luck.
Top man. Thanks a lot. Bye bye. Okay, and finally to Zach, who's been very patient. Zach, thank you so much, mate. How are you feeling? An hour or so after the final whistle of that 1-1 draw.
If I'm honest, I was expecting worse with our previous results that have gone. I was expecting worse. I think after the Southampton game, it gave me a little bit of hope. What I've been hearing from friends who had gone to the game and by the commentary is we won the game, but we didn't play well against Southampton, which made me a bit optimistic. We got a win. Hopefully, we can boost it into getting a win today. But obviously, that didn't materialise. I think, with a lot of the other callers, that I do agree with them. I think today was actually probably one of our best performances. But like you said yourself, it's like the problem we have with most games is we're not clinical. We haven't got that clinical edge. Son's off it. And if I'm honest, he has been for a few seasons. I hate to say this, I love Son. I think he's a great player. But I think when we had Harry Kane made Son look a lot better than what he is. Because when Kane was there, Son could make those runs, knowing that Kane would find him.
Yeah.
Kane's gone. There's no one. We haven't got anyone to fill that gap. And also, like it's something my dad says, like Bergval's very good, Bentancur's. We've got a great midfield, but we've got no one really there in that midfield that would control the game. Like, we've got no physical presence in that midfield.
Yeah, agreed.
Whereas, like you look back in the years when we've had like Moussa Dembele, we've had Wanyama, like they've had that physical presence in the midfield. So the
Bentancur was more physical tonight than I've seen him be for a while. He really got around the pitch. I was impressed with him tonight.
Yeah, no, he was great tonight. Like Bentancur, I love him. Like always, whenever he plays, you can see he puts like his heart on his sleeve. Like he always tries to put his best out onto the pitch. But I think there's a lot of players who don't do that every game of the season. They don't do it. They don't go out on a limb every game of for the season. Agreed.
Do you think that's because they're out of form, or do you think they don't believe in what the manager is asking them to do?
I think it's a bit of both. I think part of them have, like, when we went through that injury crisis, I can understand that they're struggling, that they're expected to do all these games and they've got no real help. That could go down to, is Postecoglou not wanting to use these fringe players like Mikey Moores and players who aren't necessarily always in the squad? Is he too afraid to say, you know what, step up? Or is it down to Daniel Levy not wanting to invest in the team? Now, I know Daniel Levy came out with a statement saying we must operate in a structured way to protect the future of this club. Like, sorry, Daniel, you're charging us tickets prices of a top 4 club, and we're now currently sat 14th in the league.
Yeah,
being beaten by teams that we should be beaten. Like Fulham are above us. Crystal Palace, I believe, are above us. Like, these are all teams we should be above.
Agreed.
And the problem is, and I can say this now, is the reason why Postecoglou hasn't been sacked already is because Levy's under a lot of criticism. He's had a lot of protests against him. The fans want him out. Levy will not sack him now because he knows if he sacks him now, he'll get a bigger backlash because of what happened to Jose Mourinho. Now, yes, we didn't. No one liked the football that we were playing under Jose Mourinho, but it's like even one of my friends, a Southampton fan, he was saying the one manager that is a master at beating Man City and a master at cup finals is Jose Mourinho, and we sacked him a week before a cup final. Like, if we hadn't sacked him a week before that cup final, we could be sitting here today with potentially a League Cup. No, yes, a League Cup, but a trophy, like in our cabinet. And I honestly think that's why Postecoglou hasn't been sacked, because Pochettino arguably had a similar squad to what we have now. He had Kane, he had Son. Like, he had a lot better attacking players than we do currently now.
True. So what are your thoughts? Let me just bring it back to kind of this and next week. What are your thoughts on next Thursday then? You know, what do you think is likely to happen, and you know, how are we going to go about it?
Look, I think we need to go out to Frankfurt and we need to play our football, most importantly. Now we conceded a goal today because it happens too often. The players give the ball away too easily. Now, I don't know whether that's teammates are not giving them a shout, so they've got a man closing them down, or they're too comfortable and it's sloppy passes. But we need to go out there and we need to take the game to them. We can't sit back and hope and for a counter attack. We've got to pin them in like we did today. If we pin them in, they're going to hit long balls. And I mean, I hate to say it, like, since I heard it from one of the other callers, like, Romero doesn't look interested. Like, he looks like he's lost his initiative to play for the club, like want to play.
Yeah, his desire.
Like today, I was watching the game, and like, I don't know if this has happened in previous games and why we get caught out so much. I don't know whether Postecoglou is telling him to do this or whether he's doing it on his own accord. But he seems to push himself high up the pitch, like sometimes playing as a midfielder or another attacker, which Van de Ven's very quick. But how many hamstring injuries has he got? And if you're
Yeah.
quick, you're susceptible to hamstring injuries or any kind of injury.
Yeah, look, Zach. Before I let you go, mate, let's get a prediction from you for the Wolves game firstly, and then the game next Thursday.
Yeah, I think Wolves were going to rest a lot of the players. I think Postecoglou and the players have given up on the league season. Like we're not fighting for anything in the league, so I think it'll rest a lot of players. If I'm honest, I think it's going to be like 2 or 3-0 to Wolves. I think they're going to come at us because they're fighting for safety and relegation.
Yeah.
So they've got stuff to fight for. We haven't. In terms of next week, I think it's going to follow a similar scheme. I think we'll go 1-0 down, and then we'll chase it, and hopefully then I want to go for a 2-1 win for Spurs next
I love
Thursday.
it. I love the positivity, Zach. Listen, thanks so much for being part of the show, mate. Really appreciate you calling in, and let's speak again after Wolves or next week.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
All right, mate. Bye-bye. All right, guys. That has been the watch along and the fan show. If you want to appear on the fan show in future, please email Chris at tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. That's tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. It's really important to us that the channel gives everyone a voice, particularly from those around the world. So wherever you're from, please do get in touch.